Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in. Gosh, when they say inspiration is everywhere, they are not kidding. So I was at a football game and I saw a young girl wearing a t-shirt that had an ombre effect from white at the top all the way down to a hot pink, almost violet color at the bottom. And it just hit me. It'd be really cool to do a cascading bouquet that way. So I thought I'd give it a try, see how it turns out here. So as the flowers are laid out before you, that's how it's going to be cascading down in my hand. So I'm going to start with the white and work my way all the way down to that fuchsia color violet. I'm going to start off with the white, and I'm using white baby's breath, and I'll work in those kind of garden roses into kind of a round shape. And I'm using the baby's breath because it will hold my flowers for me. I do like the texture it has, but most of all, I like the fact that it'll keep the flowers from twisting in my hand and it'll hold them in place, which the further along you go with the bouquet, the harder it is to hang on to it and create that shape that you want. So I'm using the white here. I'm going to work in some greenery as I go down. And also I have a few bundles of hydrangea. It was kind of a off-white hydrangea with a little bit of blush pink on it. And then I'm going to work in some blush colored roses and pink carnations. I'm using the pink element all the way around this circular part of the bouquet, so I'm going to go towards the back with it as well. Always want the back pretty for the carrier too, not just the front. But I'm not going to put the fuchsia and the red and the hot pink in the back. I'm going to keep it just white and pink in the back, and then as it spills over in a cascade style is where all the hot pink and the red and the fuchsia color will come in. So I found these dahlias that have a blush color on the very end of the petal and then works into like a deeper pink. I thought that was perfect for this type of bouquet because it does that kind of fading into the next color look that I was going for. And because it's such a unique looking flower in this particular bouquet, I'm going to put it more towards the front. The whole theory of having a focal flower kind of goes out the door with doing this type of bouquet, but I'm doing the best I can to keep the focal kind of right towards the middle and the front there. And I'm going to use those dahlias to do so. I'm also using some different kinds of greeneries. It has some hydrangea leaves that I'm going to put around the back to hide my mechanics. That's going to be the collar that will hide everything that I do to the bouquet. And then I'm working in some different eucalyptuses. The spiral eucalyptus is kind of working in the way that the baby's breath works, as far as keeping those flowers in place and pushing them in, a little bit more forward and out and down. It'll fill in that gap as it cascades forward. Moving on to the hot pink flowers, I have these more garden roses. I also use some geraniums, although they don't really look like geraniums, but I took some of the blossoms individually so that I could kind of pepper them into the pink area and below. Again, trying to create that fading effect into the next color. And then also in the greenery, I have like a spring rye that I'm going to use to give that motion to the bouquet, that movement. Just kind of gives it a little bit more of a real factor because it will have that flow as you walk with it. So this is actually the second time that I'm doing the bouquet. Truth be told, majority of the time that I do bouquets, it's my second time that I show you. So I just want to point out, don't ever be afraid to let it go. It's heartbreaking, put in like so much work. I think I had a good 20 minutes into the bouquet before I had to let it go, but it just wasn't going in the direction that I wanted it to. So it's so much easier to let it go and then come back to it, and then usually it will turn out exactly as you want, but don't be afraid. After the hot pink, I'm going to work in some red roses down at the bottom, and I did have to elongate the stems pretty far because I want them to cascade forward and down. So as you kind of see there, I added, I believe it was a 22 gauge wire on there, where I just grabbed the end of the stem with the wire and wrapped it all around itself nice and tight, and then covered that with some wax floral tape. And the spring wire is also going to work to hide any of the tape or the wires on those roses and their long stems there. And you can kind of see the clash between the red and the hot pink. The red has more of a blue tone to it, like undertone, and then the hot pink has more of kind of an orangey undertone to it. So it kind of creates a little bit of a clash. But as you'll see, as I work in the hot pink or the fuchsia colored orchids there, it almost marries the two colors. It kind of helps blend those together, and it looks pretty, with the pinks, the reds, and the hot pinks. Kind of reminds me of Valentine's Day. But once you add that other color, that fuchsia in there, it gives it just a different level almost to the bouquet. Kind of takes it from looking so pinky into something that looks almost like a hot type of color to it. And I kept running out of storage, so I apologize. There's a couple times where the camera jumps, and that's because I didn't dump the load on my camera there before I recorded. I was on the struggle bus that day, but as you can see, working in those orchids, how it just really gives it a depth to it. So except for that one that broke. And that reminds me, you always want to make sure that you hot glue the blossoms to the stems too. I actually did, but I must have did a bad job on that one because I pulled it right off. And I think I pull off another one too. Either that, it was stress. It was, like I said, a little bit of a struggle putting this together, but you can still do the same type of flowers in real. It doesn't have to be artificial. It's nice doing artificial because you can do things like pull off the blossom head and just hot glue it back on. As to where you can't do that with real flowers. But you can do the same effect. There's so many different shades and different types of flowers. And all of these, I think, are relevant in real life. There's real mums that look like those dahlias, and those fuchsia color orchids are in real life. There's fuchsia color orchids. So just play around with it, have fun, and thanks for watching.